This is Making Light. Julie Hurt and Kate Fogger are soul-level intuitives and animal communicators. This show is about us sharing our experiences in the hope it will help others along their path. So let's go make some light.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Making Light, Two Humans Being. I'm Julie here. With me, as always, is Kate Foggo. We are both certified soul-level animal communicators and certified soul-level intuitive coaches, and we're taking a break from our regular series of taking a look at workarounds with negative beliefs and all that to bring on two very special guests that you can see with us here today. We've got Monica Klein and Anna Marie Ellison, and they have a really cool service that they've combined their talents on and are offering to everybody. I've actually had a chance to experience it. Kate's actually watched some of it too, and it's really, really powerful. So we wanted to share with all of you this incredible work that they're doing. And before we actually get to a little bit more of hearing from both of them, we actually want to show you what this work looks like. So just real quickly, just so you know what you're watching Anna Marie work with her horses. She's the founder of Healed by a Horse. And you're watching Monica Klein use the language of light, and they've combined it together. So take a look at this awesome clip.
Part of the healing moving forward is focused on community.
So that is a little snippet of an hour-long healing session that they recently did and combined their fabulous talents together. So let us introduce both of them. Monica, welcome to Making Light, Two Humans Being. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Kate and Julie. I'm so excited to be here with you and Anna Marie. So, language of light is channeled sound vibrations, channeled language. It bypasses the mental mind, so it can really work with our whole physical, emotional, spiritual structure, and really triggers our bodies to heal, our minds to heal on a different level that we're not used to. And it's quite unusual. It's taken me a while to get comfortable and do this in public, in front of people. But it's just so powerful. It just speaks to my soul that it just compelled me forward.
That's awesome. And yeah, it's really interesting to be in its presence too. And you talked about doing it out in public, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. Anna Marie Ellison, welcome to Making Light, Two Humans Being. Give us a little bit of information about who you are. We're so excited to have you back too, by the way.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back. So if you didn't see our previous episode, which was last year already,
Yeah.
I'm Anna Marie Ellison. I am an animal intuitive, so I do energy healing with animals, animal communication, and I am the founder of Healed by a Horse. And it's an equine experiential learning and coaching program. Actually, it's more of like a coaching and healing program it's kind of evolving into. But so we use horses as co-facilitators in the healing and coaching process. So horses have this innate ability because they're so grounded and in touch with themselves and present, fully present all the time, to help us move the energy that is in our bodies that doesn't belong there anymore. We don't need it. They're just amazing facilitators of helping us get in congruency with what's really going on with us so that we can release that stuff that no longer serves us, that we don't need to hang on to, so that we can start healing from trauma or grief or divorce or major life changes. Whatever it is that's going on with you, we take it to the horses and we let them use the energy in whatever way they see fit to help just move that. And what we did in this experience was do that for the group, which kind of amplified everything in a really amazing way that Monica and I were actually not even expecting. We actually didn't know what to expect going into this. We had played with it a little bit with a client of ours who was like, hey, you want to try this? And we were like, okay. And so we started combining it, and they were like, let's do it for a group and see what happens. So we had no idea how this is really going to go. So it was kind of fun just to jump in and see what happens.
So explain a little bit more about what actually, well, first of all, how did you both meet? I'm going to back you way up. How did both of you meet?
So we met in classes, Daniel McKinnon's animal communication classes, and Anne Marie was the TA. I was the Padawan student. And we just connected. And I was so drawn to the horses and a little nervous about being around the horses, but I live in Ohio and Anna Marie lives in Illinois. So one day I jumped in my car and drove 8 hours and I was there.
Awesome. And so you guys were,
She
What-
didn't. She didn't.
I did tell her.
I didn't know she.
Yeah.
that's good. That's always helpful. How long have you all been working together in whatever capacity? A couple years now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When Monica got her certification for soul level animal communication, she asked me to be her mentor for that as she kind of started her own business. And so since then, it's been a couple years that we've been talking and you know, her helping me as much as I'm helping her, and just supporting each other.
That's awesome. So you guys were recently together, just doing your regular working with the horses and just being together. And you alluded to it a little bit, Anne Marie, you had a mutual client say, hey, could we combine them? So let's talk a little bit more about that experience, and then we can show another clip to explain it.
Yeah, so Monica actually came out to do her own work with the horses. She came out for some private sessions, working one-on-one with the horses. And in that process of the weekend, we have a mutual friend who I had been speaking with, who was going through some stuff. And she knew Monica does language of light, and she's been out to do work with the horses before. And she's like, would you guys be interested in trying to do like a combination of this? You know, I don't know what that looks like, but is that something you guys think might be possible? And so we kind of thought about it for a little bit, and we mulled it over, and we were talking, and we're like, okay, let's just see what happens. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. So we just went out to the field with the horses. I set up the camera, the video, so we could be on Zoom, so the client friend could see what was happening. And Monica was doing light language as we were out with the horses, and this amazing, beautiful, like energetic bubble just kind of happened, and the horses immediately came in. We could start feeling the energy. And with Monica doing the language of light at the same time, it was amplifying all of the energy that the horses were processing and moving. And like, we were just like, I don't know what's happening. We're just following it. We're just going with the flow of whatever came up, and you know, letting the horses lead us, and Monica was letting, you know, her light language of light go through however it came through, however she was channeling that through. And it just really turned into this beautiful healing session that we didn't expect it to be at all. We didn't know what it was going to be, but it turned out that our client had a really profound release of a lot of stuff that had been underlying for her for a really long time, and huge shifts had happened for her.
Yeah, we were really surprised at the shifts and how powerful, and the client was out of state. They were not present. And we're like, wow. And yeah, I had got some channeled information for the client beforehand. And what really astounded me is how the language of light and the horses were just in sync in this like beautiful flow.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
And then we ended up trying it on a Zoom session, and we had a good showing. There were over 20 people.
Yeah. Kate, before you show a clip, do you want to ask any questions?
I do. I just don't want to interrupt because Zoom's being a bit temperamental. My first question really is, now I know Monica, and obviously all I can say now is said with love, but how on earth? I mean, both Julie and I have experienced this as you were learning. Well, not learning. I don't think you did learn, did you? You let it through, shall we say? But look, we've got all the cats with us.
I know, I was just going to say the same thing.
But
Little halos sleeping to the side of me.
Monica, I know you're gonna have to get off me, Don. Monica, I know from I learned animal communication with Monica, and we practiced together, and that's another story. But Monica, in her not real life, why do we all say that as if our proper lives are somewhere else? In your non-fuzzy life, shall we say, you're actually a magistrate, is that right?
I am. Yes, this is my secret life.
So how do you equate that with, let's face it, what sounds like a middle-aged woman talking rubbish?
You know, at some point it was like, well, I am what I am, and I'm just too old to fight it anymore. You know, it's just like, here it is. So
It's pretty amazing though, Monica, and to actually see you now compared to when we started, because you were definitely slightly reticent, understandably, but it's actually fascinating. So congratulations, because it's a really brave step. And also for those of you who, you're going to see this in the clip, what is incredible to me is how it all syncs up. You can see it all moving about with the horses and everything. It's just incredible, and I just think this is really amazing. I feel like Julie, you and I are on the cutting edge of everything here. Sort of, yeah.
well, and another unusual thing that has happened, I always, when I do my animal communication readings, I always set the intention, whatever comes up is free to share. And I've had animals that have crossed over kind of send me light language to their human,
Wow.
which is, and they've come to me for an animal communication. So I really have to trust. I'm like, okay, I know this is weird. Are you up for this? And to my surprise, they're like, yeah.
That's
So,
brilliant. I was going to say, I wonder how they receive that. Is really, that's really interesting. So you people who are listening to this, they're not supposed to understand it or anything, are they?
sometimes I get a little bit of words with it, but to me, that's why it's so powerful. I don't try to force any translation because it's going beyond our mental mind. And as we all know, the mental mind can just really get in our way.
Yes. And did you learn this, Monica, or did it literally just start happening?
I was at an energy workshop and I heard another woman speak it. And then I would just have this feeling like I need to do this. And I'd be like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. And then I was like, you know, by myself, I was like, okay, let's see what this is.
Wow.
And I just, it's like it would keep nudging me, nudging me, nudging me.
That's brilliant. Okay, Julie, do you want me to play the clip, or do you want to talk a bit? Because you actually experienced this, didn't you?
Yeah, I think maybe, and I think maybe another clip just right now, just to kind of re-ground everyone in what we're actually talking about, and then I can talk about the effect that the workshop had on me, which was amazing.
horses are asking that we open our hearts at this moment to allow the divine light to pour in, whether that's coming in through your crown or your heart space. Let all the energy that no longer serves you be allowed to move out down through your feet into the earth, and allow divine light to come in and refill that space.
It's just incredible. I mean, that's the thing. And just to watch and you see the whole thing, the horses all lining up, you know, it's like, even if you don't know what's going on, something's going on because you can see it. Do you want to talk to this, Julie, or do you want to ask Anne-Marie what was going on then?
Both. So I just want to I just want to just note and have Anne-Marie talk to you as well, that there are 3 horses. And if you don't mind, Anne-Marie, when you begin to talk, just introduce the horse of companions, and then you go ahead and just share like what all was going on there too, because I'll let you go from there, because I just as I rewatch it, there's some pretty amazing things that I didn't pick up the first time that I went through it. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think every time I watch a clip of that, something else kind of pops up. I'm like, oh, look at that. So first of all, introductions. The gentleman who is gently loving on me in the front there, that's Hercules. He's the one with the dark hair. Al was just beside him. He's the red, all red. And then just behind him was my little girl, Nikki. I say little girl, but she's 27. She's the oldest of all 3. So that's our crew. We've been working together for several years now, doing this work, and they actually taught me this work. I didn't know this work was possible. They started working on me as I was healing through my own grief of my husband's passing, and it just has evolved over time that they have been teaching me how to do this for other people. So this group session that we did, we set the intention that this be for the greatest good of everybody who was there live and who would watch it in replay afterwards. So whatever was coming through, we asked that the horses and the language of light provide support for that in whatever way that looked. We didn't obviously know. We can't control it. I can't control what's happening with the horses. But the way that Monica, she gets language of light, and then sometimes she'll get like downloads of little channeled pieces of information. The horses are also doing that for me. So they're moving the energy, they're kind of creating the space, but they're also, as an animal communicator, they're also sending me information to share with the group. So at the end of that, it was kind of muffled because all of the clothing I had on, it was like 15 degrees out. So I had multiple layers and you couldn't really hear well, but it was them sending messages through me to share with the group. So everybody kind of understood, okay, this is what's happening right now, to the best of, the ability. But what Hercules was doing there was so powerful, because whatever was happening for the group, I was actually feeling that viscerally in my body. It was coming through me, and I didn't know it was coming, but I just had to like get low to the ground. I just felt like I really needed the grounding, and Hercules was helping me do that. And then I just had this sobbing release, and you could hear it a little bit on the clip of me just, and I think that's actually a truncated clip of, it went on for some time, several minutes of just sobbing and releasing whatever energy was going on for the group. And then once that was over, it was like, okay, he's like, okay, now just pull that out. And he just came over and was helping me. Okay, you don't need to absorb that. Let's move that. Let's get that out and let's release that. And then he just came over with that, gentle support at the end to let me know, okay, well done. So it was really powerful for me to feel that in there. But what's very cool about this is, where the experience that I was having, I could hear Monica, but I couldn't hear anybody else in the group, and the horses could not hear Monica. So the horses could not hear the language of light. But it was very interesting how, even though they couldn't hear it, the energetic vibration of that was being felt both ways. And they were responding based on what I'm hearing in my ear from the language of light. and they're responding to it in their own way. And it all was just kind of like in sync and like just so beautiful. We couldn't have asked for it to go any more, smoothly, in the way that it just all lined up like that. And Julie, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you were feeling that on your end as that was going on for me and with the horses and what Monica was sharing as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I also want to say, not only could the horses not hear Monica, Monica's in Ohio and you're in Illinois. Like, so all these ideas that we have of what you need to, where you need to be, what you need to experience in order for this energy to help or work or whatever you want, whatever verb you want to use, all bets are off, is all I have to say. We have no idea what we don't know, right? So yeah, so going into this, I was really excited when I got the email that you guys were going to do this. I'm like, oh yeah, sign me up. The just that day, later that afternoon, and I started to experience a lot of pain in my body. I actually do have scoliosis, and there are days when it's to stand sometimes can be really hard. And so going into the session, it was later in the evening for me, and my whole right side was really painful. My neck, which was different, it was different pain than I usually have. My right side of my neck was really difficult to turn, and down my rib cage really. And I mean, I could hardly, to some degree, I could hardly breathe. It was bad. And so my intention going into it was just help alleviate the pain. I didn't necessarily want just to get rid of the pain so I can function. I came out of that, I think it was total like maybe 40 minutes, because I know you guys let time in for questions and answers. I came out of that, the pain was gone. And I could take really deep breaths again and not have that. Sometimes it just feels like a stiletto going back through my rib cage, and all gone. I could move my neck, everything. My husband, actually, I made him do this with me, and I said, just go with it. And he actually could feel it too. And he was also really skeptical, but he could feel it too. And so we talked a lot about it afterwards. So just the mere fact that he was brought into it and could feel shifts just in his energy and his emotions, but for me to actually feel that shift in the physical pain. And I did not actually watch the horses a whole lot. I kept my eyes closed because I've had the luxury, if you will, of experiencing it firsthand at Anna Marie's farm, being in their presence and watching what happens. And of course, then Monica and I will do a lot of different things together too. So I've also benefited from Language of Light. So I didn't necessarily need to watch the horses, or I felt like more compelled to keep my eyes closed. So just watching that clip there, I didn't actually, I remember in that moment hearing you cry, Anna Marie. And I remember opening my eyes going, oh, because I'm like, I have a caregiver soul. So I'm immediately like, oh my gosh, what do we need to do? Anna Marie's crying. So, but I didn't remember like seeing the actual horses. So just in that clip right there, rewatching it, and how Hercules moves from the straight line that they were holding and then comes behind you and makes sure, to some degree, I feel like Al's back there holding space. Hercules is like helping you move. And then as you say, this is what the horses are asking. He looks right at the camera and just holds that space as if, yes, I'm talking to y'all of you out there. It was pretty, as I rewatch it, and that's again, some of the more powerful stuff, but I could feel it too. Once the clip ended, I could feel it again through my heart chakra in particular, just really kind of move through me. It is really that powerful. Yeah.
There was actually a moment when he was kind of nudging me because I was in resistance, right? I was like, I don't, what's happening here? Like, I feel it, something coming. And he was literally physically nudging me to let it go, just let it go. And I was trying not to be the emotional mess, right? And he's like, nope, that's not how this works. You just have to let it go. So him doing what he does best, that's how he works. He's like, no, he'll physically try to like manipulate your body to get you to do a release or whatever needs to happen, because he knows what you're holding on to. He knows what I was pulling in from the group. He's totally aware of all of that. And same with Al and Nikki in the background. If you like saw other clips of them, you would see like Nikki's back there licking and chewing, and Al's, he's like so stoic looking, but he's totally moving the energy and being the support system back there for all of us, right? And so you, like Julie was saying, you know, picking up on the little nuances of what they're actually doing, you don't have to see it. You know, I didn't expect, at least, I don't know about I didn't expect people to feel physical healing. You know, I expected some emotional stuff to come up, some releasing of, you know, that kind of thing. But to hear Julie talk about the physical release was really powerful for me. I did not expect that at all. I mean, I know it happens for me, but being that, like, Monica and I were in 2 different states, and Julie's in everybody was all over the world. We had people from this thing, right? So to have these different reactions and getting such amazing feedback of how everybody felt this different stuff, it's all about the intention of, like, whatever you needed in that moment, the horses were going to help the collective of the group in whatever way they could to kind of bring that all together. It was so cool.
Yeah, I was really blown away. I was so surprised at the feedback that kept coming in and how people liked it. I was really, really surprised. But when we had done the 3 sessions with the client, the last session, my guides had told me, this is all about grounding. It's going to be about grounding in the information. And I hadn't shared this with Anna Marie. And she walks out to the field, and I think I just started telling her about it. And we look, all 3 horses were sitting on the ground, which, Anna Marie, have you seen that before with your horses?
They don't typically, like, all lay down at the same time. You know, there's always a sentinel who's kind of watching out. But what was interesting was I always tell them when we're doing a session ahead of time. So I told them, okay, we have a session at 9 o'clock today. 9 o'clock or whatever time it was, went out the back door, and down goes Nikki to lay down. Then I see Hercules go lay down. This is as I'm literally walking out to the field to go live on the session. Like, they knew, they were ready for it. And I had no idea Monica had been receiving some guidance about this was about grounding and all of that. And then we went out there and this was all happening. But this is how, like, the magic of energetic work, and time means nothing, space means nothing, location means nothing. You know, it's all about the intention and what you're open to, and miracles happen.
Yeah, and we, I know that from a theoretical, like, there's no time, there's no space, but when you start experiencing it with, like, there's no way I can control these horses. And I wouldn't want to, but when you get centered with your divine energy and just let it flow through you. I mean, we all have incredible things that we don't even know we can allow to flow through us and to flow to others. And I think all of us in this group are just kind of allowing for that magic and miracles to flow through and to live in a different world that we couldn't conceive of years ago.
Yeah. Kate, do you have another question? Because I've got one, but I want to give you space to.
No, I just wanted to, well, I'll just tell you what the experience was for me, because Julie's like, oh my God, you have to watch this. We have to talk about this. So I watched it, I think because it was really late for me. I watched it on recording. And the thing is, I was watching, and I really struggled to feel things in my body. It's one of the things I do, and I'm very super analytical and all of that. So like you, Monica, I know all this stuff exists, but there's a bit of me that wants that proof, wants to actually see it, wants to actually experience it. And I watched that, but I watched it. I think I really wanted to watch it again, but without watching, like to actually feel it in my body, because I really struggle. If I want to feel stuff, I really have to shut everything down. But I could not take my eyes off the horses. I mean, it was just, you can see a bit of it in the clips, but they're all lining up, and then one of them will move and shift and move around to the other one and walk in front. There's a lot of yawning, which we'll see in the other clip as well. But it's so obvious that something is going on there. You know, the way that Hercules stands, and then I think at one point, like he says, he's nudging you, and then he'll just suddenly disengage and walk around like, right, that's that bit, and then someone else would step forward, and it was just incredible. So I was really torn between wanting to feel it in my body and actually just watching this dance. It was literally a dance that was going on. Incredible.
Yeah. I was curious too, Monica, what was this particular workshop session? What was this like for you?
So I didn't realize till after, I don't think I'd ever done light language that long before. And I was nervous, and I'm just letting all this flow. But afterwards, my whole body was like vibrating, and like just, I could not sleep. I was up for hours, like 3 or 4 hours longer than I normally am. And I just went and like sat with it, and it was crazy. It was just, I don't even know what else to say. I just, I was like, wow, I really need to ground. I really need to come up with some ways to just move this energy more through me. But it was quite the experience.
Yeah.
And we talked like the next day or a couple days later, you know, after the fact, and both of us were still feeling stuff from the session. Like we were still feeling the energy of the session. I mean, we had disconnected from the group, but the energy that was still working through us on our own personal stuff as we were evolving into this new kind of work, we were still feeling like, oh, wow, do you feel that shifting happening of kind of leveling up into something we didn't know it was possible? And our bodies were still kind of acclimating a couple days later. You know, it was very interesting to be in it and notice that, like how different it was from being in the session and kind of conceptualizing, okay, this is actually about us. This is our growth that's happening based on what we experienced and shared in the group, which is neat.
Yeah. Wow. Kate, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like, so I was gonna ask though too, like, I know when we all do animal communication or coaching sessions, many times after the session, we don't necessarily remember what all took place specifically. Did that happen for both of you in this as well? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've watched huge sections of it afterwards, but yeah, I had no idea.
Wow. So cool. And I just wanted also to clarify, so when someone books a session, and we're going to talk about how they can do that after we show the next clip, when there's several things going on, right? I mean, you've got the language of light that Monica is channeling, and then Anne-Marie is communicating and connecting with the horses, and they're doing really working with the energy and whatnot of whomever. Is there also Reiki going on? Because I did see sometimes hand movements, Anne-Marie. I wasn't sure.
For me, that was I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as Reiki. The energy healing that I do with animals anymore is kind of because I've learned so many forms of energy healing, and the way that I teach it now is completely different. But I just move like whatever it feels like. And it's funny because Monica and I were talking about like the light language, and then there's actually written light language. And at some point I was like, maybe this is like body movement light language. Like I didn't know if it, like I was just following the energy, you know what I mean? And as I was being guided to move this or move there or do this, you know, I just flowed with it. And that's one of those things, like afterwards I was like, I don't know what happened, I don't know what I did. But it just happened. But I'm very tactile when I do energy healing, so I'm feeling a lot through my hands, and took a lot of years for me to get to that point of actually having the physical sensations in my hands or my body. And now it just comes so more natural that I just kind of like, it just comes part of the flow, especially when I'm working with the horses, because the energy is so powerful, that I need to keep like just moving it out of my auric field and moving it from them so they're not absorbing and things like that. But I'm just really going off the guidance of them and what instinctually is coming through me, to just move that. So I don't know what it is, but things are happening, hands are moving, bodies are moving. I've seen actually Monica do it at some point. Her hands are going too sometimes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I always say when we don't know what's happening, I always think that's such a very powerful state because we're really just letting it flow through from a higher guidance that, you know, Monica or Anna Marie couldn't do on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know what we don't know. And I love how all of this is manifesting for both of you, as well as I should just say for me, because just I get to like witness this and I also get to benefit from it too from time to time. I also want to just say how awesome it is, how what I find for me personally, like so really compelling is this integration of human animal and you know, other species of animals, and that we don't know what we don't know, but we also there's also these animals are calling us to do so much more with them and connect with them. And I just want to say for everybody that's watching on our YouTube channel is every one of our animals, I don't know if you've noticed, has made an actual physical appearance. So all your cats joined in, and then Lucas, my dog, was like, okay, y'all need to know I'm here too. So at one point you can see his tail, but he just wanted me to say, yeah, we're all here. So just how the animals just they don't rise to the occasion because they're asking us to rise to the occasion. But I just wanted to just share that because I felt like they were trying to say something too.
Well, and animals do not respond unless you're authentic.
Right.
And I think, you know, me going out there, I started to go out after the first time. I think I've been out twice, at least twice a year. I think twice a year about. And I really feel honored that the horses trusted me. And it also really verified for me that this is really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I think as all four of us as animal communicators, our goal is, you know, first and foremost, we're looking at how can we help the animals. But in the end, there's this process of our own lives changing. We're changing lives of our clients because the animals are reciprocating that healing right back to us. And we have like, there's no line of like, okay, no, we're not going to go there. It's just automatic that they're like, no, you think you're working on us. And actually, we're doing the work on you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just being open to the idea of, I don't know how this works, but whatever's going to happen, I'm willing to see what happens and where it goes. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to understand how the horses work or how language of light works or any of that. If you're open to the possibility that healing can happen in the space of love, in the space of unconditional love with these animals, then anything is possible.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said.
Well said. And with that, Kate, do you want to show the additional clip and then we can let everybody know how they can experience this for themselves? Because you're going to want to.
Stinatitani kokokoni na kokoni na koko. Stinarari storokoni katastira kahita kakokosani kikiti na kokotani kokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokokok Shanida Coco, Nida Coco, 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 Mashani rola costina la capita, la cocotinera che cocotira, che ti piacca cocotincha, la cocotiti, Mishani rola costina, 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 Just scan your body and notice what you notice. Take a breath.
That's just amazing, isn't it? I mean, first of all, the choreography, but the yawning, because of, we all know that yawning is a sign of release, but when you see it so exaggerated on a horse, you're like, oh my God. And I just love the way in all cases, when they're sort of done, they then come up and like nudge you, whether that's sort of comfort or come on or whatever, but it's like they're very aware of you the whole time, aren't they? It's all about that. It's just incredible.
Yeah. And that
And because it
releasing,
was,
that repeated releasing and releasing. I mean, the video's not the best quality video, but that's what we got. So, but you can see, I mean, yawn after yawn after yawn. That's one way that the horses are processing the information, the energy, and releasing out of their body. So they're moving the energy for the group through their body. And then they know to release it out. They don't want to hang on to that. They're like us humans, we want to hang on to stuff forever and ever and ever. We want to hang tight on that. And that's how, it gets stored in our body and we create illness and stuff. And they know that's not mine. I don't want that. I mean, how often as empaths do we absorb stuff from everybody around us? And they're like, nope, this is not how it works. They're teaching us. You can pull it out, you can move the energy, but then you got to get it out of your body. They know I need to stomp my feet, or I need to drop my head, or I need to shake, or I need to yawn to get it out of my body so that I'm not holding on to that for everybody. I don't need to hold on to it. That's not my job. My job is to move it, get it out, and just let it go. And it's such a powerful lesson for us to watch them, because all the reactions that they're giving is information, right? Hey, okay, let it go. That you're ready. When they're bumping into me or checking in with me at the end, okay, there's a reminder of, okay, move on to the next thing. You don't need to sit in that long, or, okay, you've cried enough. Now let's move on to the next thing, right? So they're giving that constant feedback, which is the fun part about working with the horses. And like Kate was watching them and being so mesmerized, because you're seeing all of the reactions, and it's a different experience to do that versus just with your eyes closed and being in it, which is equally as powerful, but it's different, so all of it's part of the whole process, and important parts of it too.
and I loved that it was so cold that you could see the horses letting their breath go, and you could see it. It was just, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with you, Anne-Marie. I mean, God, I thought it was cold here, but whew.
I had lots of layers on.
Oh my God, I don't care. I just wouldn't do it. I'm just not that. I'm sorry. I think I just draw the line at it. So thank you, Anne-Marie. Do you want to
Yeah, it
tell
was
people?
0 degrees outside, and it was like, what, 12 or 15 in the barn. It was ridiculous.
Do you want to tell people where they, well, I mean, you're going to send me information so I can put it in the notes, obviously, but do you want to tell people briefly what stuff you've got coming up so that they can experience this? Or can
Yeah.
they?
They absolutely. So we've got a couple things coming up. We decided to we had such great feedback about the group experience that we wanted to offer like a series. So we're doing a 3-month series. Once a month we're meeting to do similar to what you saw in the clips, an hour-long session of group healing, right? So very similar to what you guys experienced in the clips. So we're doing that. The first one is January 20th. And then the other option that you could do is actually, if you want to book a private session with Monica and I, where we are intending for whatever happens in that session to be based on whatever it is you're personally working on. So if you're working on, hey, I have this belief of I'm not good enough keeps coming up, we're going to take that to the horses. We're going to take that to the guides, and Monica's going to channel some information about that from the guides. She's going to get through, some light language with that. And I'm going to take that to the horses, and you get a private session or a series of sessions we recommend, because nothing is one and done. It all kind of builds on each other. So we're offering private sessions in that way. So a lot of people don't like to be part of the group, and that's totally okay. And they like to be able to talk back and forth. And the good thing about doing the private session is we're in communication with you during the whole session, right? We can't do that with the group because there's so many, but in the one-on-one sessions, we're checking in with you too. Okay, so what are you feeling right now? What is that bringing up for you? What else do you want to know about that? And we take that back to the horses, or we take that back to the guides, and Monica gets more language of light to work on the next stuff that starts to unfold. So it's a really powerful session that's cultivated just for you and what you're working on. And then of course, if the horses don't resonate with you and you just want to do language of light, which is amazing and super powerful all by itself, you can book directly with Monica, just a private session for language of light. Or if you just want to do a remote healing session, or hey, if you want to come in person, you're welcome to do that too. It's a little cold right now, but that's always, welcome. But everything, the language of light, you can book from Monica at mckleinintuitive.com. You can book directly with her there. Any of the group healing sessions with the horses and language of light, you can go to AnnaMarieEllison.com and book through there, or healedbyahorse.com.
We'll put all that in the notes. So Anne-Marie, basically all this can be done remotely.
Yep. I didn't even know, like, this is part of the thing. I was like, can we do, like, I've done a couple kind of remote healing sessions where like I'm doing energy healing for someone and their animal, and the horses are like, hey, you need to get out here and sit in the field and do that. And so I go out in the field and do the session from out there, which is really cool. And then they were kind of part of the healing process. But this whole idea that we can do remote healing from the horses to wherever, like, this is brand new. Like, I didn't know the depth of this was possible. So you can be anywhere. I mean, you can be in China, or you can be in Europe or Ohio or Michigan or whatever, and me be here. And it's, as you can tell, it is just as powerful as if you were right here in person.
So basically you could be somewhere that's not minus 32 degrees or whatever ridiculous temperature you were at.
Yes, that's a bonus. And then if, but if you really need that whole, I want to hug a horse experience, that's what the live in-person stuff is.
Brilliant.
And I highly recommend the in-person, but they're not less powerful on Zoom, which is just, we know these things, but to actually experience them, just for me, took it to a new level.
Incredible.
Yeah, I can't recommend either way enough. I mean, Monica was the one that took me to Anna Marie's farm to begin with. That was an amazing experience, which you can hear about in the other episode that we did with Anna Marie last year. And then this over Zoom combined modalities fast. It's wonderful and amazing and comforting and supporting and everything. So highly recommend both. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, did we miss anything?
I have loads more questions, but we'll have to do another session. I didn't want to interrupt because this is the stuff we wanted to get out, but we'll have to do it another time.
I think so. Yes, absolutely. And absolutely, I still want Kate to come over from Scotland and and see all of us in person and all that stuff too. So that would be fun as well.
Oh yeah, we need to do a group retreat at the farm.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I just need to work on my abundance and I'll be right over.
I think they can help you with that too. All right, Kate, do you want to take us out?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you both so much. You're both friends and colleagues, and this is just amazing. And we'll put all the stuff in. And if I'm really clever, I'll see if we can link back to the original video with Anne-Marie, which you should be able to do as those things that pop up. Loads of fun. So thank you very much, both of you. And Julie, thank you as always for being with me as my wingman, as they say. So you can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, or you can follow us right here on YouTube. I'll put everything in the notes. anything that you want to catch up on, please do comment, questions, anything you have, these lovely ladies, please do start the conversation in the YouTube comments, or indeed we are now on all popular podcasts, what do you call them, platforms, whatever. We're everywhere. You can't miss us. Don't miss us. Join us. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening or watching, whichever you're doing, and we'll speak to you again in the new year. So happy new year, everybody, and you could be healed by a horse and light language in the new year. How about that? All right, thanks everybody.